Let's see. I think we are live. Let me see if I get some audio. Let's see. I think we are live. Yeah, you get some audio. Okay, let me keep my phone here to see if there are any comments coming. We're back with live streaming. Decided to make a live stream today about Volvo. I'm very familiar with the brand. Well, very familiar. I own a Volvo and it's my first Volvo. So I can talk to you a little bit about the cars that I know and the iconic Volvos that are out there. It's a very good brand. I think it's a little bit of an underdog, which is good when it comes to prices, and they're technically very well put together. Even the Volvos that are built under the supervision of Geely, the Chinese manufacturer of cars, they kind of let Volvo do their own thing, which is a good thing, I suppose. And basically, Volvo, we can talk about the cars from the 2000s, like the S40, the S60, the S80. We can talk about iconic cars like the 850 T5R, the one that you see in the thumbnail. That's like a classic Volvo. We can talk about the 960 and the 980, but without further ado, this is Volvo's under 10K. If you have any questions or anything in the comments, I keep an eye on that. So let's select Volvo as a brand and let's kick off with, can I do this faster? Yes. Volvo, the S40. That's also the same car that I have, which I will do a 5-year ownership review on later this year. So if you're interested, subscribe to this channel. We are not going to mess around with the model years. I just want the S40. So this could be the first generation or the second generation. The only thing that's important for this video is the budget. So you have kind of an idea what's out there. 185 cars for the S40, and let's see what it finds. So 2007, the same model year as I have. 2008 was a facelift, but let's see, this is a 1.8. Might be a little bit more economical when it comes to petrol, but if you can, then go for the 2.4 inline 5. It's a very well put together engine. It's an engine that put Volvo on the map, and it's not being made no more. So you are also driving a piece of history, I would say. So let's see if I can find a 5-cylinder here and what that cost. Here we have a 2.5 T5 Summon. So this is really the top model, so to speak. Just under budget. Let's see what you get for this amount. Wow, it's cherry red. It's such a Volvo car. 2003. So this is really an early version. This is the same model that I have. That's the first generation. No, this is, I should not say that. This is the second generation S40 before the facelift. So this is how it was introduced to the public in 2003, 2004. Yeah, it's classic Volvo. I mean, if you check my videos, then you also see it. I have the same, but here it's all leather and very Swedish design, which I like. This one has the automatic. Volvo automatics are not the best, but they can handle the output of the T5, which we will come to in a minute. Basically the same car as I have. It's not very spacious. You don't really have a lot of room to put luggage, but it's a great long distance cruiser. And especially with the 5-cylinder turbo engine, it's great. I have the same layout, air conditioning, all the stuff that you basically need, but it's an early 2000s car, so it's really still analog, and I think that, personally, I think that's a plus. 110,000 kilometers, I think. It's not miles, no, it's kilometers. Great. Yeah, that's brand spanking new. Really, for a 5-cylinder, that's nothing. Mm, I do like the color somehow. You don't see this kind of color that often on a Volvo, but I mean, oh yeah, something else I should mention: the sound in the car is pretty good. It's pretty good, especially the bass and everything. Oh, this one has this is the summon. I don't have this. This is a memory for 3 seating positions. So Volvo guard alarm system. Looks like it's been done by almost every time the same garage. I don't know how many owners it has. 2003, but it has a new um, license plate number. So I'm curious about the history about this car. Let's do that right away. Then you can also see how I check out certain things. Then we go to a Dutch website. Can also have various other sites to check license plate information. But since I'm from Holland, we gonna do this. So, built in 2003. It says APK until 2006. Okay, that's really strange. APK is basically the annual check, the technical state of the vehicle, so you can enter the public road. Oh, it hasn't been checked APK since 2006, and it is an import. And they asked 10K. Let me see when it was imported then. It has 220 horsepower, which is, yeah, in today's standards not a lot, but it's not a very heavy car. I'll come to that also soon. It's a Euro 4, so it's early 2000s. On the highway, it's like 7 liters on 100 kilometers, but it can be less. But I average around 7.4 on a mixture of roads, and sometimes when I go to Germany, I also drive fast. So here it's let's see, it's 1366 kilos with 220 horsepower, which is nice. And I have to check the Newton meters here. That's 320. That's, yeah, that's quite quick. 6.8 to 0 to 60 or 0 to 100 kilometers. Top speed of 240. It's plenty. Has a 62 liters capacity of tank. But let me see when it was imported. Can I see that? Or do I need another tab? Just a second, guys. October last year it was imported, but it hasn't been checked since it was in Holland. There need to be a good story behind a car like this, but on the outside it looks nice. It looks like a really great car, and they do have some service history here, which is good. And overall the car looks in great condition. Also the seats here, usually you see some wear and tear here, but come on, the car only had 100,000 kilometers driven. The paint job looks spot on. Yeah, it's the smallest Volvo. I have one as well. I know the ups and downs. I will make a complete video about this later with real footage, 4K footage. But this could be a car. If you want to know more about the S40, this is all I'm gonna cover, because this has the 5-cylinder, and this is like the normal one, the one that I have, the 2.4 with 140 horsepower, 3K, 3,000 euros. Buys you that already, and it has cruise control, air conditioning, everything. Let's see how much is driven. Wow, quite a lot more than me. I just have 170,000 kilometers on it. I drove about 50,000 kilometers in 5 years, especially because of Corona. I didn't need to drive that much. But these cars can easily reach 300,000 to 400,000 kilometers when you properly drive it, and even more if you drive long distances. It's a great engine, the 5-cylinder, and it's one of the cheapest way to attain a 5-cylinder by Volvo or very old Audi, but the Audi will probably be more expensive in the long run. But I also have the 140 horsepower. This is like the weakest 5-cylinder available, but it's it's mostly the torque that's available from like 1,000 RPM. I come out of corners in the third gear and it just picks up no problems, which I think is really adds to the relaxing driving experience of a car like that. We're gonna move on. We stay in the same era. We now pick a little bit of a bigger model. It's not much bigger. I know somebody very dearly that I know that owns one, so I know how big it is. It's just a little bit bigger than the S40, but this has kind of a different look. Maybe a little bit more grown up somehow, but it's also the car that's on the market even longer. The S40 is really when they started to make Volvos, and the S40 was put together with Ford. But I stop about the S40 now because I'm gonna make a video about that one in fall. Moving on. So this is also a 2.4. I think they only had 5 cylinders for the S60. So looking sweet. All right, let's see what we can do. If we can scroll to this, yes, can we make it bigger? Slideshow, full screen. See if it works. Yeah, it does. Now, what can I say about this? It's a very decent looking car. It's not as shouty as, let's say, a 3 Series or Audi or C-Class, for instance. It's not exactly in the same league, but I mean, this is also a perfect long distance cruiser. It has great seats. It's a great interior. It's put together quite well. Old Volvos, they might squeak and rattle here and there, but it's definitely put together, built well, and you know, you can drive 1,000 kilometers in one day, no problem. It's really a nice cruiser. And on the Autobahn, it's easily a 150, 160 without getting tired, and the engine still has enough performance to accelerate from that speed. So, what more do you want? It's all a little bit early 2000s, but trust me, still a lot of cars drive around, and they have all astronomical mileages with the 5-cylinder. So this is the driver's edition. Let's see if we can go a little bit more upscale, maybe a Summum or something if it's still available. This was 2008, so also the facelifted version. These S60s came to the market in 2000. So let's see what else we can. This is a new one from 2012, and I believe the S60 in this form was made until 2012, if I say correctly. But that would be a production run of 12 years, which is quite long. That also means that you still have plenty of parts available. This is also a driver's edition, but the 20 valve does nothing with the content of the engine and the power output I see. Let's move on. The 2-liter turbo, also quite a well and respected Volvo engine. This is what they say the T5. It also has the 5-cylinder, but it has 260 horsepower according to this website. I have no reason not to believe that. So let's see. As you can see, it's really the way Audi styled their cars, like also around the millennium. Just they ooze some certain class, you know, and they're not shouty about themselves. So I always like that in cars. It is the T5. I mean, 260 horsepower, that's plenty. Nice steering wheel, automatic gearbox, like early 2000s navigation system. It's nice that it's in it, but you know, back then they didn't have smartphones yet. Nowadays everything is Google Maps or something else. Look at this. This is a nice place to be, I would say. This one has 232,000 kilometers driven. Still looks quite well. Buttons all seem to be nice, and this leather on the gear knob is still looking fine. Nice car. Quiet, but you know, if you drive it, you enjoy it. You don't need to shout about it. When you want to go one step higher, we have the S80. They also had 5 cylinders. They had, I think, the 2.9 V6, and they even had a Yamaha built V8. This is also a T 2.5 liter turbo from 2007, 2.5 liter Summum 2005. See, this was the facelifted version of the one that came to the market in 2000 already, or 99, I believe. Let's see. Yes, this is what I'm looking for. Okay. Come on. Blue with the blue outside and the beige interior in the on the inside. It's a beautiful combination for Volvo. You can see the leather is a little bit damaged over time, but what do you expect? These cars are quite old. This is 2007, yeah. So I think this is one of the last model years of this kind of generation before the facelift. Also saw a facelifted one. Basically kind of the same interior as the S60, but then all a little bit bigger and more luxury. Look at that. It's old. It does look kind of old, but not too much. It's still a respectable car, I would say, in 2022. 2.5 liter turbo. I mean, bulletproof engines. Might not be very fuel efficient, something that apparently we're all looking for nowadays. But I understand with the prices of energy nowadays. But back then, nobody really cared. You just wanted a nice car, bulletproof engine, and a little bit more CO2 at the back of the car. Nobody cared, and a little bit more gas going through it. Nobody cared. Different times, I suppose. Let's go back and get some information. So this is 2005. I don't know where I got the idea that it's 2007, but 2005, let's say 260,000 kilometers driven, automatic, anything I can find. No, basically everything that I already told you. If you buy a car like this, you still get 1 year of guarantees. It already has the APK, which is indeed the technical inspection. Get a full tank of gas. That's nice. Moving on. This is 2005, so 2 years later we had this version. Personally, I liked the old one a bit better. This one looks a little bit oversized and overweight somehow, but does have class and style. It has statements like style and class. Hankook tires on it. This is a no-no. You never know what happened with the car. I mean, towing larger items is never very good on the engine. Even if the engine can do it pretty well, it's quite a wear and tear thing going on, especially on automatic transmissions and stuff like that. I mean, black leather interior. Yeah, same kind of steering wheel as I have in my S40. Yeah, not as special as the other one, to be honest. But this is already one of the newer ones. Below 9K, below 200,000 kilometers, a 2.5 liter 5-cylinder turbo. I think it's also about 220 horsepower power output. Let's see if I can get that information. They don't put it out there. Do I get a license plate? Yes, here we are. Let me just get some specs for you guys. All right. So Volvo engine. 200 horsepower. A 5-cylinder. 200 horsepower, okay. Not bad. But it's a big heavy car. So I like this better somehow. But it's a summum. And summum is the best that Volvo has to offer. It's you can't compare it to an AMG line or an M line. It's not about that, but it's just it's like a basically full spec Volvo. It's a summum. Yeah, I like this generation better somehow. Look at this. Yeah, it's a nice car still. Moving on. Now let's go for something really special. I don't think under 10K you can find an 850, but we are gonna try to find the top model of the 850, and I don't think so. 2.5 liter. This is a 2.3 T5. That's not the T5R, but it's coming close. 5,000 euros for a car that has almost 300,000 kilometers driven. I think you still need to do some things. Oh, this looks strange. It's like a turbo brick, right? Yeah. Old school 5-cylinder. Really the one from the 90s. My S40 has the continuation of this one. I think this is the closest you can get to a T5R, the one that's from the thumbnail. That's but those cars are going up in price, so I can't include them here because prices are going up. It's really an icon of a car. Here, this is basic, guys. This is really 90s. This is 850, so this is before the V70, basically. So this is really like the station wagon from Volvo from the 90s. And this car is from 96, yes. Bulletproof tanks, definitely. I think if you still invest a couple of €100 in this one, then it will be reliable for a long time to come. You never know what happened, but in the basis, these engines are bulletproof, and not even 300,000 kilometers, if that is correct. It's not that much. A 2.3 turbo 5-cylinder. Moving on. Let's go to the even older stuff. And you really have to be interested in this. A 940. Let's go for the top model of the 900. These are even older. 97, 95. The Ambassador line. The 3-liter 6-cylinder. Just under budget. Look at that. And this is 97, so also the 90s. I can yeah, I can appreciate this kind of stuff. I can. Let's zoom into the engine later. This one has a 3-liter either inline 6 or V6, not sure. We'll figure out. But this looks great for its age. This has like a royal emblem on it. It's the executive. Looks exceptional to me. It really looks yeah. This with this you can tell it's like a early 90s or late 80s. But hey, it works. Automatic gearbox, of course. The executive line. It looks pretty good. Look at the space on the back here. It's a couple of years ago I wouldn't like a car like this, but I guess the Volvo virus also hit me. A 1224 valve 6-cylinder. Look at that nose. This must be a car of an executive or a CEO, and they usually, they go to the garage and they tell the guy like, do whatever it takes, and I don't care what it costs. Usually, so logical. Okay, moving on. Let's go back. This one has 150,000, 85,000 kilometers on it, which is nothing, but it is an old car. So it has a 3-liter 6-cylinder. We already established that, with only 204 horsepower. You're able to reach 210 kilometers an hour top speed if it still has all the horses, but it's quite a heavy car, 1600, more than 1600 kilos. APK, so the technical inspection is not available. This could be a car that was 3 years ago sitting somewhere in a garage or in a hangar, and somebody did something to it during the Corona days. It just polished it and took care of it, and now selling it for a big plus. Money in Europe is not worth that much, and a car is not a good investment, I understand, but sometimes you also gotta enjoy your life. And if you don't drive a lot of kilometers and you want a nice car, something else like a 7 Series or a S-Class, then I think this is a very good alternative, which probably is cheaper to run as well. So I'm just throwing it out there. But you gotta like these kind of cars. I mean, in the corners are probably shit, but when you drive 140 kilometers on the cruise control going south, it will probably be quite a nice experience. Yeah, so that's the 960, and this was the executive line. This is the ambassador line. I don't know all these lines, but you have to, check yourself. What do you like? Also 5K. This one has more kilometers on the clock. This is 2 years older even. Oh, this only has one picture. This one has 170 horsepower, and the other one had 204. Also 6-cylinder. Oh, this is two and a half, and the other one was 3-liter. Okay, makes sense. February 95. So this car is 27 years old. 27 years old, guys. Almost 30-year-old car. 5K. Again, if you have a large family and you have leather interior, for instance, and you have 2 kids and they make a mess, you can, yeah, it's maybe not a nice way to use the car, but it's probably still cheaper than buying a minivan and stuff like that and having a boring car. With this one, you have a safe family car. It's like a Volt on wheels, I would say. And it still looks good. If you wear a suit or something, you go to an appointment. Yeah, I mean, I think people will start to appreciate cars like this more and more in the future, because we all go electric soon and boring, and yeah, enough said. What else they got? Prestige line, a 3-liter again. I mean, these are 95. Look at this. This looks American somehow. Let me check. Let me get a sip of coffee. Yes. Okay. Now this looks nice as well. Let me get some specs first. Also a 6-cylinder. Okay. This is okay. The 940 you also have. Maybe even a 98. First this one. So the 960 is 6 cylinders. The leather still looks surprisingly good, but here probably nobody sat often, and here you see the drivers make more time and spend more time in the car, which is logical. Not a lot of kilometers actually, below 160. 204 horsepower is a 6-cylinder again, 3-liter. I mean, this was the top spec, 24 valve, and they asked, say, 9,000 for it. Still a lot of money for an old car, but these cars were built like tanks. Back then, emissions didn't really matter. You just wanted to build a reliable engine, and that's what they did. That's a testament of these cars still driving around, and they're close to reaching 30 years in age. So that says enough. Enough of the 960. Can we go higher? No, we can't. So we have the 850 we saw. This is basically the same car with a different engine, I think, the 940. Am I correct? Not really. Here, still 9K for a car like this. 98 to 940. I still remember driving in the car on the back seat, of course, when I was a young guy. And let's see if this car also has this turbo meter on it. On the dash. 5-cylinder, I think. 4-cylinder. Gotta do my homework. 2.3 4-cylinder. With an astonishing 135 horsepower. Doesn't have a turbo, but I remember sitting in a car like this with a turbo, and when it really kicked in, then you were pushed back into your seat, which was quite remarkable. And yeah, these cars are built like tanks. I mean, it might not be a lot of fun in the corners or anything else, but these cars, they're quite reliable. Of course, you need to do maintenance on them, need to spend money on it from time to time, but in the basis, these cars are really well built and really well put together. Let's see. What else do we have? Anything I can show you? Maybe a 240 or something. This is even older, and this is actually where the Volvo story started. So late 80s, 91, 90, 93. A Volvo 240 rally car. Let me get a quick look. They barely rust, but you gotta see, a car like this has been used in the dirt and probably in the snow, so you gotta check them. Volvos are not known for rusting at all. They use quite good steel and components. But a car like this, yeah, if you like rallying, and these are rear-wheel drive, so they do have a cult following. It's cheaper to have than, let's say, E36 2.5 liter BMW, or maybe even a Mercedes 190. They also both have rear-wheel drive, or an Audi. No, Audi was Quattro. So this is a cheaper alternative, but that's the 240. I will not cover that. These are quite old, and they're very popular. Was really a success story for Volvo. Moving on. The 460. I still remember in my high school days that one of the teachers had one of those. I mean, this is cheap transport, really, and it still works. It's far from exciting, but it does what it's supposed to do, and it still does it, I guess. But I would never go for, yeah, this is the most expensive I can find now, 850 euros. 95 petrol, 2 liter. Let's see. This is old, but you see why it's cheap. Probably still has some issues here and there, but the seats are dirty, everything is dirty. Here, rusty. Yeah, they're honest about it. This is really like, it's still run and it will still bring you somewhere, but there will be a time very soon that it will not be good for the public road no more. So 110 horsepower coming from a 2 liter 4-cylinder, just over 1,000 kilos in weight, 95. This will still drive, but this is I remember when these cars were around, and it was quite a popular car in the early 90s in Holland. Some of them still drive around, which is a testament to durability, but a lot of people already ditched them. It's probably a very boring car, but I think well put together. 95. So this was kind of the facelift, and this was probably the original one. This is even cheaper. Somehow this looks better. Ah, this is also more expensive. 2K. And not even 70,000 kilometers on the clock. But this is really old school Volvo, boring and boring and boring. But it still runs and will probably still run for many years. Yeah. 4-door. Ah, it's a 5-speed. Okay, I thought it has 4 or something. Moving on. So that was the 460, and see if we can find anything else that is special. I don't think you can get a convertible, but we'll look at the S70. It's also a 90s car. You can probably find a nice one still. What's the most expensive one? 2.5 liter Europe, 99. Turbo automatic. Let's see. 99, both 99. So this is sedan for the 90s. A relatively modern Volvo. Relatively. 2.5 liter turbo, 20 valve. I want to see some specs. 220,000 kilometers driven. Let's see what it has when it comes to power output. Euro 2, 5-cylinder, 200 horsepower. Yeah. Weighing 1430 kilos. This will still shift, but it's more about the torque, I suppose. Relatively modern Volvo, 99. So as you can tell, Volvos don't necessarily need to be expensive. I think, and that's my personal opinion, here they also have a 2 liter, so it's my personal opinion that these cars are well put together, especially the older Volvos. Yes, you might hear some squeaks and some rattles in the interior, but the engines are mostly bulletproof, especially the 5-cylinders. And what I mean with bulletproof is they don't have a lot of issues, but that doesn't mean that they don't need regular maintenance. So keep that in mind. It's not like you can drive with them 3 years trouble free without changing the oil or doing stuff, then you will get into trouble. But the 5-cylinders are legendary engines because of their durability and because of their soundtrack, and that's really what people think of when they think of Volvos. The same thing with the old Audis, and Audi is also still having they stay true to the 5-cylinder crowd basically. Yeah, guys, I think that's it for now. If you want more information on the S40, I will do a video on that one in the fall about my own Volvo. Just came back from a trip that in 10 days I drove 2200 kilometers, and I'm really amazed by the car and how comfortable it is and how stable it is on the Autobahn. And it's a small car, and I think the great combination of the S40 is I will zoom into that again, is the fact that the chassis and everything is from the Ford Focus. And then I have the famous 5-cylinder engine in the nose of the car. So I think that's a great combination. And they might look a little bit boring from the outside, but you know, if you have to drive longer trips, then you will definitely see that it's a great comfortable car and it's a nice place to be at. And if the 5-cylinder is too much, they also have the 1.8 or the 2 liters, which is also quite good. They have many mixed components between Ford and Volvo, so also the 2 liter Duratec, I believe, and the 1.8s, and Ford usually also built good engines, but when you really want a little bit Volvo DNA, then go for the 2.4 or the 2.5, the T5. I really like the one in red. It was a nice one. See if you can spot them again. Yeah, this was here, the Summum, the T5. But little bit of shady history. It's all up to you. If you have any questions here, yes, the 5-cylinder engine is a jam. Correct. That's one of the comments I got just now. I agree. It's a gem and it should be preserved. Volvo not building them no more. So if you still have a piece of history and you can enjoy it, and it's not about the top speed. It's more about the torque and the characteristics of a car like that really makes it great. And yeah, the soundtrack, of course. Yeah, thank you for watching this live stream. This is the first one I will do, and from now on, every month I will do one live stream. So, also please let me know what I should do for the next, but probably I will focus on BMW because this is the year of BMW. And next year I'm planning to do more reviews on the brand of Audi. And also Volvo is coming. So if you have any other suggestion, then please let me know in the comments. I hope you have a great week, and thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one.